Japan is a land of massive diversity. From serene shrines and temples to bustling cities and advanced technology, Japan seamlessly blends old with the new. For many people, Japan is at the top of the list of places to visit, and I was no different. With some of the best food in the world, it's one of the best places I've ever traveled to. However, trying to plan a trip to Japan can be so confusing and overwhelming. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you how I spent 10 days in Japan for my honeymoon, covering the most popular cities to visit: Tokyo, Kyoto and Osaka. We started our journey at London Heathrow Airport and flew to Tokyo business class with China Eastern Airlines, and we connected through Shanghai. We had quite a journey, and I shared that in a previous video, so make sure you check that out after watching this one. I'll pop the link to that video in the description box below. It was quite the dramatic flight, but we eventually made our way into Japan. We landed in Tokyo Narita Airport and made our way to the hotel. I will be making a separate video on how to travel around Japan, so make sure you look out for that one. In Tokyo, we stayed at the Hilton Tokyo in Shinjuku and Hotel Metropolitan Marunouchi, right next to Tokyo Station. If you are yet to book your hotel in Tokyo, we would definitely recommend these two hotels. They were both absolutely fantastic and in a great location. The Hilton Hotel was much more luxurious and the view was absolutely fantastic. I didn't get any video clips of the Hotel Metropolitan. However, it was in a much better location. The views were still beautiful. It wasn't as luxurious and as nice rooms as the Hilton, but the location right next door to Tokyo Station really made it worth it. If you are like me and you're completely lost with the thousands of hotel choices in Tokyo, you could not go wrong if you book a hotel right next to one of the major train stations. Day one of the itinerary starts with visiting Suzuki Fish Market. You really need to make sure that you get to the market quite early, as it does close early. It closes by the afternoon. Here you can find so many Japanese foods and try a lot of dishes and some nice desserts too. This is a fantastic market, prepared to eat lots of Japanese food and see lots of rich, authentic culture. It is actually a wholesale fish and seafood market, so you will see a lot of that. However, there's lots of cooked foods for you to try as a tourist. This was a super busy location. We saw so many people here. I would say it's a must-do thing to experience while you're in Tokyo. The next thing you can do is visit Team Lab Planet's Tokyo. This is located really close within walking distance from the fish market, so it makes sense to do both on the same day. Make sure you book in for this far in advance, as it can get sold out really quickly. Team Lab Planet is an interactive museum where you can immerse your whole entire body in the artwork. It was such a unique experience, and we have never experienced anything like it. You've probably seen some of the rooms in this museum on TikTok or other social media platforms. Each room is completely different, and it's got an experience connecting you with the art. You walk barefoot in water, through hanging gardens and through mirrored lights. Gives you a great opportunity for reflection. I won't spoil it too much for you in this video, but it's definitely something that we would recommend that you experience while you're in Tokyo. Also, very luckily for you, starting from 2024, there's going to be a new Team Lab Planet's museum opening in Tokyo. It's Guinness World Record breaking, and it's supposed to be even better than the one that I went to, so you've definitely got to try and go. Then you can finish off with dinner at a nice restaurant. We ate at the Nadaman restaurant in the Shangri-La Hotel, which was absolutely amazing food. I would definitely recommend eating here. If you love Japanese food, then you really can't go wrong. Every single restaurant that we ate in while we were in Japan was absolutely amazing. If you are a bit of a foodie, then one very important thing that you need to do is look up the Michelin star restaurants in Japan and decide which ones you want to visit. You don't need to get those booked way in advance, as soon as you can. We left it till a month or so before we traveled, and we thought we'd given it lots of time to book, but we still really struggled to get a table in some of the restaurants. However, we did manage to get a table in a few of the restaurants, so we will share with you which ones we went to. When we arrived in Japan and met some friends who had managed to get into those restaurants we couldn't get into, they had booked 6 months in advance. Let's move on to day 2 of the itinerary, and we're going to start strong with the Dawn Avatar Robot Cafe. This is such a cool and futuristic coffee house with remote-controlled robot servers. From the minute you walk in, you are seen to by a robot, taken to your table by the robot, and then all your drinks and food are served by a robot. Some of the tables had a little robot that remained on the table that you could chat to while you're having your meal. What is really special about this cafe is that the robots are controlled remotely by humans with disabilities that prevent them from having jobs like this. Each robot wears a name tag which shows the real employee behind the robot and their name as well as their photo. The employees behind the robots are so friendly and chatty. They talk to you through the robot. They tell us a little bit about themselves. And they also ask us about us and how our holidays are going. This is honestly one of the best services that we've had in a restaurant. The staff are so friendly and amazing. You do have to pay extra to be served by a robot, but it's totally worth it. They bring little drinks to you on a tray, and they also bring your food over to you. The drinks and food was also delicious here, by the way. We would definitely recommend going. And from futuristic to ancient we go, as we recommend next visiting Sensoji Temple, which is only walking distance from the cafe. This Buddhist temple is located in Asakusa, and it is Tokyo's oldest temple and definitely one of the most significant. It's very iconic, and the 5-story pagoda adjacent to it is probably the one you see in everyone's photos when they go to Japan. Along the entryway to the temple, there are many shops selling traditional goods. The temple has absolutely beautiful grounds. You can't go inside the temple, but you can definitely be outside and you can light some incense right out there. Next, you can head to Ueno Park, which is a huge park right in the middle of Tokyo. This is a really popular tourist attraction. There are some temples, there's a zoo there, and there's also a museum. If you are lucky enough to be visiting Japan during cherry blossom season, they would look so beautiful here. It is an amazing slice of nature right there in the city with beautiful greenery and lots for you to explore. The next place on your day 2 itinerary is Tokyo Skytree. This is a broadcasting and observational tower in Tokyo. It is the tallest structure in Japan and is the 3rd tallest structure in the world. Try and get booked in here for sunset time. You get the most phenomenal 365-degree views of Tokyo. After your busy day 2 schedule, you're going to want to relax and get some food. One of the dinner reservations I 100% recommend that you do while you're in Tokyo is to visit Moonflower Sagaya Ginza. The Moonflower is an 8-seat restaurant featuring a permanent digital art installation by Team Lab, which is the place I showed you earlier, which had the Team Lab planets. In this restaurant, you can enjoy a beautiful tasting menu with seasonal dishes while appreciating an interactive digital art installation featuring trees, flowers, and everything unfolding itself on the walls, on the tables, and even on your plate. This dining experience was so magical and special. If you're visiting Japan for a special occasion, this is the perfect place to do it in. Note that the table is a large table that is shared with other people. In total, it's 8 people on the table. So you'll be sat next to whoever you've come with, and it's quite nice to meet new people, enjoy some delicious, tasty dishes, and impeccable service. This was by far the most mesmerizing dining experience I've ever had in my life. My husband and I enjoyed it so much. We loved how the art in the room changed along with each dish that arrived. It kind of went through the seasons in Japan, so we had spring and cherry blossoms, then we had fall and all the leaves fell down. You had summer. It was just the most beautiful art installation on the walls. This restaurant is also known for their amazing Wagyu steak, which was so beautiful. I loved every single course, but I'm not very fussy with food, so I really do enjoy most things that I eat. The food was amazing and faultless. Since there's only 8 people per dinner seating, you can imagine this place gets very booked. So we did book this months in advance, so make sure you get it booked if it's somewhere that you want to go. I have to also mention that it is very expensive to eat here, as you can imagine. It's a tasting menu, so the price is set, but that does not include drinks. After your delicious meal here, you can just relax, you can go for some drinks, or you can just go back to the hotel and recover if you're still a little bit jet lagged. If this itinerary is sounding too much for you already and you like to be a little bit more relaxed on your holidays, don't worry, just do whichever ones you want to do on day 2, and later on in the holiday we come back to Tokyo and you can catch up with some activities. Day 3 of the itinerary kicks off at the Meiji Jingu Shrine, which is a Shinto shrine located in Shibuya. This shrine has incredible architecture and scenic grounds. We actually saw a Shinto marriage happening when we were there. Next, you can visit Takashita Street, which is situated in the heart of Harajuku. Here you can experience some of Japan's pop culture and trendy fashion. Here there are so many shops selling some, quite frankly, very strange outfits. While you're on the street, you must try a tornado potato from Long Longer Longest. It is the best tornado potato in the world. We've tried it quite a few now around the world, and that was definitely the best. There's a lot of really interesting and really different foods to try on the street. Next, you can head to Shibuya Scramble Crossing, which is just a short walk away. This is the world's busiest pedestrian crossing. It is a must-do while you're in Tokyo. It's such an exciting hub with so much going on, lots of neon lights, sounds, lots of people, just so much going on all at the same time. It's really exciting. This is probably one of the places you've already heard about before coming to Japan because it is in a lot of movies. There are some artists performing live for our entertainment right on the side of the crossing. I did a lot of research on where is the best place to just watch the crossing from one of the buildings surrounding it, and actually the Starbucks is the best place. All you need to do is buy a drink and sit down and observe the crossing beneath you. After that, you can get dinner somewhere. There's lots of places in that area, and you can visit this bar if you have some time. This is Bar Centifolia. It's another one that you might have seen on TikTok or Instagram. This is definitely the place to go to unwind and enjoy a couple of drinks and cocktails. The bartender is award-winning, and every single cocktail is so intricately thought out, and his displays and how he makes them is so creative and amazing. This bar does not have very many tables at all, and even fewer tables on the bar where you see all the cocktails happening, so make sure to get a table on the bar if you can. If you're coming from England or the US, I would say that Japan is probably not that expensive compared to home. However, this bar is extremely expensive, and just like the Moonflower, they are the two most expensive places we went to while we were in Japan. Make sure that you book in advance, but if you don't have time and you haven't booked, go ahead and try turning up. If you're lucky, they might have a table for you and they might give you a time to come later on. However, don't be surprised if you do get turned away. If you're enjoying this video and you love travel and luxury content, make sure that you subscribe and leave a comment down below if you found the video helpful. Your lovely, kind comments really do make my day. Day 4 starts as a travel day, traveling from Tokyo to Kyoto. Make sure you check out my next video to find out how to travel between cities. The journey itself is an experience. Make sure you get to the train station nice and early in order to get yourself a snack from the train station. They have lovely bento boxes and you can try some different Japanese snacks while you're there. If you didn't already know, Kit Kats are extremely popular in Japan. I think that Kit Kat means good luck in Japanese or something like that. So they have so many different flavors of Kit Kats, so make sure you try some of the different Kit Kats. They've also got a fantastic selection of savory foods like sushis and different things that you can try while you're on the train. In Japan, the trains are really advanced, at least compared to what we have in the UK. The seats are really spacious. There is a leg rest. Each seat has a tray table behind it, and the seats even spin around, so if there's 4 of you traveling together, you can face each other. We really had a lot of fun with this and we found them so interesting. Because we did go in the first class train cabin, we also got to buy food on the train and we tried some more bento boxes. You're more than likely going to be traveling on the speed train or the Shinkansen towards Kyoto, and this means that you'll be going past Mount Fuji. Make sure you sit on the Mount Fuji side of the train. They will tell you which side that is when you're booking your ticket. On a clear day, you'll be able to see the magnificent Mount Fuji. However, it was a little bit shy on our way to Kyoto. We left Tokyo really early so we could get to Kyoto early and use the full day there. I'll show you the hotel we stayed in just a moment, but the first thing we did was drop off our bags and head straight to Osaka. This sloping street is lined with historic Japanese-style buildings, which have traditional shops and newer shops, some selling souvenirs, others selling kimono and different type of accessories, and you can also get some nice food while you're here. There is also Sanenzaka Road, which is very similar and is right nearby to Ninenzaka. Next, you can walk to Kiyomizu-dera Temple, which is just around the corner. This ancient Buddhist temple is part of the historic monuments of the ancient Kyoto UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It's one of the most famous and beautiful temples in Kyoto with good reason. Whilst you're in this area, you also want to make sure you see the Yasaka Pagoda, which is one of the famous pagodas you probably see in everyone's photos when they're on Ninensaka Street, because you can see it in the background. When we went, it was so busy, far too busy to be taking pictures in the street, but if you went really, really early, I'm sure you could get some beautiful photos with no one else in the picture. After all this, I'm sure you'll be very tired, so you can have some lunch and head back to the hotel. We stayed in the Hilton Kyoto. It was brand new when we stayed there, so we were quite lucky to be one of the first few people who stayed here. The hotel was very Japanese style. We felt the Japanese vibes in here. It was so beautiful. The rooms were quite small, a lot smaller than the rooms we had in Tokyo. When we were going to Japan, we were told by everyone that the rooms would be tiny. However, the hotels that I've showed you so far, as you can see, the rooms were pretty big. This one was a little bit smaller than the ones in Tokyo. But this hotel did feel really traditional, which we enjoyed. On day 4, we would recommend visiting an onsen while you're in Kyoto. It's the best place to do it in. This hotel had the most fabulous onsen. Obviously, we're not allowed to film in there. We also had dinner in the hotel, and that was the end of day 4. Day 5 of the itinerary starts bright and early because we're going to the Fushimi Inari Shrine. This shrine is so iconic and well known for the thousands of torii gates which line the way to the main shrine at the top. It's really important to know that this is an extremely long hike if you want to go all the way to the top. However, the perks of going higher is that there's less people and you can get photos with nobody else in them. So if you're not able to wake up early, a tip is to go as high as you can to the top, because honestly there's no one up there once you get to a certain height. This is another fabulous activity to do for free in Kyoto. There are a few stops along the way for you to get some water or just sit down and catch your breath, and at the bottom there's also a cafe where we got some nice matcha latte and cupcakes. Outside the shrine there's lots of places you can buy some street food. We tried this beautiful seafood and it was yummy. Next you can head to Matcha House. The queue here was just so long. We waited a while to get in here, but it's so famous and the tiramisu was amazing. It's so worth it if you love matcha. From Matcha House you're pretty central in Kyoto, so you can walk around and explore. One thing that we found very interesting while we were in Japan was there was a lot of these micro pig places. There were also somewhere you could buy these puppies. We didn't know how we felt about this, but there were so many people buying these micro pigs in shops, and also puppies and all different kinds of animals, just like as a shop. We just don't have these in the UK, so we were very surprised and we were so confused what was going on. So put in the comments if you've seen this before. What do you think about this? It's quite interesting. Then just a short walk from Matcha House, you can get to Nishiki Market and have a look around. It's kind of like an indoor-outdoor market with lots of different food shops, restaurants and souvenir type goods. You can have some dinner here and a few drinks and head back to the hotel for day 5. On day 6, there is an option to go to the bamboo forest. We didn't because we were so tired and we kind of just like to take it easy on holiday. You can also go to Nara Deer Park if you're not too keen on the bamboo forest either. Again, we also didn't go to Nara Deer Park because we couldn't be bothered. We did, however, explore the area of Gion. This is Kyoto's geisha district, and we did see a geisha, but it's not polite to photograph them, so don't do that. We had the most fabulous fresh sushi at a place called Kappa Sushi. There are so many amazing restaurants in the Gion area for you to try. The fabulous thing to do on your last day in Kyoto is a sake tasting. This was one of our favorite things we did while we were in Japan. Kyoto has so many sake breweries. They tell you all about the history of sake and how they celebrate with it. It's fantastic. Also, trust me, you need to try the ramen in Kyoto. Day 7, you can tie off the last bits in Kyoto and then head to Osaka. We stayed at the Cross Hotel and the location was perfect. The hotel was really nice and had a great view of Dotonbori Street. We were supposed to get the bullet train to Osaka, however, we missed the train. We ended up getting a taxi, which only took about an hour. The only thing that we did in Osaka was visit Dotonbori Street. This street is a super busy street with like lots of food. The food we had here was absolutely fantastic. There's so many lights, so many colors. There's a very famous sign of the Glico man that everyone gets a photo with. There's this big ride that we went on right in the middle of the street. It honestly is so lively and so Japan. This is single-handedly the best place for street food in the whole of Japan that we found. It was so worth the trip to Osaka. If you're thinking, shall we, shan't we? It's definitely worth it. We weren't going to go to Osaka, but we thought we'll just go for one night, and it was so worth it just to go on the street and try all the amazing street food. There are so many more things to do in Osaka. We wanted to go to Osaka Castle, and there's a few temples and shrines here too, but we were just so so tired and so jet lagged still, so we just really took it easy here and we slept a lot and just ate a lot. If you have a little bit more energy than we did, definitely go to the castle and some of the temples and shrines that they have there and let me know how they were. Here is some of the street food that you need to try in Osaka. You definitely need to try some takoyaki, which is famous in Osaka. You need to try some 10-yen coins and omurice. Osaka surprised us the most by how amazing it was because we had no idea what to expect. Day 8 is a travel day heading back to Tokyo after going to Kyoto and Osaka for a few days. Again, you're going to be going past Mount Fuji. This time, Mount Fuji was a little bit less shy, so we did see a little bit more of it. But again, make sure you're sat on the Fuji side of the train. You also get to see some of the Japanese countryside, which is so lovely when you're on the train. When you've arrived back in Tokyo, the first thing I would recommend is to do a Japanese tea party. The best thing to do would be to do this in Kyoto, however we booked this too late and we couldn't get any availability in Kyoto. It was just as good doing it in Tokyo, but if you can, try and book this while you're in Kyoto because it's supposed to be more authentic. We really enjoyed our ceremony in Tokyo. They showed us how to make traditional green tea and we also got to experience wearing full kimono. In Japan, it's not offensive at all to wear kimono as an appreciation of their culture. It's actually encouraged and you'll see a lot of tourists walking around the streets in kimono. In the evening, you can relax, go to a nice dinner, hopefully one of the Michelin star ones if you manage to get in, or you can enjoy a cheap vending machine ramen, which is honestly still to this day one of the best ones we had. Just relax and enjoy one of your last few nights in Japan. Day 9 is your penultimate day. You want to spend this time catching up with anything that you haven't had time to do in the first half of your Tokyo time. If you're in Japan at a time where the sky is clear, I would so recommend going to Chirito Pagoda. We didn't go, it was quite cloudy and we wouldn't have seen Fuji, but this is what it's supposed to look like. How beautiful. Another thing you need to experience while you're in Japan is an arcade. Oh my gosh, it's the most chaotic and loud and just so many things happening. You've got to experience it. It's good you stick around till the end because the next two things are the best things that we did while we were in Tokyo. The first one is visiting Shibuya Sky Viewing Platform. This is one that you need to make sure you book in advance so you can get in there. It's extremely busy. There are so many queues and I'm not surprised because it is the best view of Tokyo that you're gonna get. From this 360-degree open-air observation deck, you can see everything from the Shibuya Scramble Square to all the skyscrapers to the parks. You can literally see everything from up here. It is the most fabulous view. There are some mirrors. There are even some photographers to take photos of you in a ring-fenced area with no one else in the photos, which is fantastic. We did not book early enough to get the sunset time, you guys. I am not joking around when I say you really need to book these tickets in advance if you want a good time. So book it nice and early to get in there for sunset. Also make sure you bring some coins with you because you have to lock away all of your bags and umbrellas because they don't allow you to take any of that onto the deck with you. After you've enjoyed this fantastic view, you can enjoy some food anywhere in Shibuya and prepare for your final day in Tokyo. The final thing and most unique to do while you're in Japan is to go to a sumo tournament. Now this only happens a few days each year, so it's really important to bear that in mind with the dates that you're booking if it's something that you really want to do. Sumo tournaments only happen in Tokyo 3 times a year in January, May and September, and it's only for about 15 days each time. If you're lucky enough to be visiting during these times like we were, we would so recommend going to a sumo tournament. It was so entertaining, so amazing to watch this traditional and just amazing sport right up in person in real life. This tournament happens all day. We didn't stay all day. You can join at whichever part suits you, but if it's something that you want to do, you need to make sure you plan your trip in the times that the sumo tournament is happening. It was truly unique and spectacular to watch. The rest of day 10, we just spent packing and preparing to go back home. So that's it for the 10-day Japan itinerary. I hope you found this really helpful if you were so confused about planning your trip to Japan like I was when I first started planning it. Use this itinerary as ideas and you can bend it and change things to suit your personal tastes and what you like to do. Thank you so much for watching this video and sticking around till the end. I really appreciate it, and if you have any questions at all, as always, leave them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help. If you'd like some more tips to guide you to your trip to Japan, make sure you check out my previous video. I'll put the link in the description box. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.